systems. Effectively supervised, trained, and implemented safety management systems in various NTPC plants as well, thermal, gas, and hydro, and coal mines across the country. His core competency areas are comprehensive review and implementing OHSAS 18001/ISO 45001, developing sustainable safety culture at work sites, safety in O&M and construction projects, and trainer for OH&S management and BBS culture. He is active executive committee member and VC of National Safety Council Delhi chapter. So over to you, Sri Gangopadhyay ji, for your presentation.
Good afternoon to all of you. Am I audible clearly, Sanjeev ji?
Yes, very much, sir. Very much. Please go
and
ahead.
my presentation is also okay, I think.
Yeah, it is visible. It is visible.
Okay. So indeed, it's a big pleasure, and I feel honored to be invited as a speaker for this 3-day session on industrial safety, being jointly organized by NIDM, FICCI, the IDM, and NDMA, as Mr. Sood has said. I'll be talking on general safety management system in industries, which is very, very important. And my presentation will be generic in nature, because the time given is, I feel, too short. 45 minutes to cover a safety management system in industries is a big challenge for me. But anyway, I will try to make the presentation very, very interesting. And maybe 5-10 minutes I may take more, because I think already 10 minutes time is over. So what is safety? As we all know, that it is a condition of being safe or protected from any danger or harm. As per Factories Act 1948 also, it is basically the responsibility of occupier to provide a safe working environment for all its employees and stakeholders. So safety is basically to identify and prioritize the unsafe conditions, unsafe actions present in the working area, and to control or to reduce the problems at site. So whatever we talk about safety, basically it is our habit, it's our culture, it is our value system. So with that kind of perception in our mind, if we go ahead, then I think it will be better for everybody to understand how to manage safety system at our working site. So this will be my presentation outline. We'll talk about why safety is very important, principle of safety management, what are hazards, risk, and how to do the risk management, controlling of different kinds of hazards. We know that what are the control sequence. So we'll be talking on that also. And then BBS culture, which is very, very important in the present scenario in industries. Unless we go for behavioral-based safety culture, we cannot achieve 100% safety at our work site. And then what are the challenge and way forward. So we'll be talking on these points. Now, why safety is important for us? The basic question is to be answered first. That is very, very important. Mainly because of 3 reasons. Number 1 is our moral responsibility. Each and every employee is having this responsibility to see that he is not getting any injury during the process of his employment. He should not do any activity. He should not violate or deviate from any standard safety system or procedure or guidelines, so that he will be making himself or putting himself in danger. At the same time, he should think for his co-employees also. So no one in the group with whom he is working should not also be entangled in any kind of unsafe condition or unsafe practice. So it is our moral responsibility, number one. Number two, it's a social responsibility also, because it is our legal requirement. All safety actions and safety features as per Factories Act, BOCW rules or act, or maybe Indian electricity rule, number of things are there in CA regulations also. So different altogether, there may be 25, 30 regulatory this thing, and different pollution control board statutes. So we have to abide by all those statutes and internal systems also. So it is a social responsibility, and most important, I think there is some disturbance, audio disturbance, I feel. And most important is economic. We cannot industry. Should I stop for a while? I think it is Lal Sahab. Now it's okay. Now it's okay. So most important, economic. No industry can afford a frequent accidents due to which there will be tremendous loss. Any accident costs a lot of financial implications, whether it is direct or indirect. Direct cost means it is only, that is very few, it's only compensation amount and medical expenses. But indirect cost is enormous. Sometimes it is 100 times, 200 times more than the direct cost. So it comes in operation loss, generation loss, or maybe sometimes moral loss, or sometimes maybe efficiency down, so many other things. So direct loss, indirect loss, it is enormous for any industry to bear. So economic condition also very important. So that is why for this moral, social and economic factors, we need safety to be implemented in toto at any working site. Now, how to do that? So before that, I must talk about what is meaningful safety culture. Unless we go for that, we cannot achieve 100% safety. And when we talk about safety culture, it is not only to comply with or implement the internal and external guidelines and procedures and requirements. It has to be a value system. That means everybody should feel that we should be safe all the while. It is not for 8 hours when we are working at industry in the factory. Its requirement is 24 hours a day and 365 days. So unless we try to achieve this kind of attitude inside, that means out of conviction, we cannot be safe all the time. Maybe because of some internal guidelines and regulations, when we are in the industry, in the plant complex, then we are following all this and we are safe out of compulsion. But remaining 16 hours, there is no compulsion at all. When we are at home, when we are on the road, or when we are going into market complex anywhere, then these compulsions are out. So then we will be definitely in dangerous situation. So unless we take it as a value system, that means it is our habit and it is our culture, nothing can be achieved. So therefore, a meaningful safety culture where it is to be treated, safety is to be treated that it is not something extra to do, but it should be treated as we do for the production, for the quality, and for the efficiency. Everybody, all individual employee must feel that he is to act as a safety leader apart from his own direct and specific responsibility. And he should encourage others in the group also to follow safety all the time, not to abuse or not to distract from any safety standard, safety procedures or guidelines. Moreover, it is the management's commitment that every time management should also oversee either through his normal review procedure or maybe some other indirect techniques or systems, that the safety management system is maintained all the time, and we are looking for and we are working for continual improvement for safety. Now, these are some of the, this is not exhaustive, some of the major components of any standard or good safety management system. Number one and foremost is EHS policy and a manual. Every organization must have a very good and effective EHS policy and a safety manual. This is almost like a pillar or foundation for any good safety management system, where this EHS policy, where management will definitely give their commitment that we will be following this, we will be doing this for maintaining a complete safe working environment at site. And then at the same time, we must feel that a continuous improvement is also taking place in the environment. Then risk assessment and risk management. That is very, very important. We'll gradually come into those slides. Emergency mitigation and response plan, safety assurance and promotion. That is also very, very important. We must have safety assurance, how to achieve this target in safety. Management may have so many targets, whether it is monthly, whether it is quarterly, whether it is yearly. But how to achieve and what is our monitoring system? So in safety assurance plan, everything has to be mentioned in a very systematic manner. And then active involvement of stakeholders. That is also very involvement. Unless we involve all individual in safety management, it's very difficult to manage safety system. Accountability and responsibility. That is also very important. Unless accountability is fixed and responsibility is fixed, people will not get that kind of attitude that if something happens, then I'll be responsible. So accountability and responsibility fixing is also very important part. Implementation of all statutory regulations, that is to be done, but that is external enforcement. It is not the internal enforcement. Internal enforcement is something different through which we achieve majority. That means almost 80%. If we only follow statutory regulations, maybe we are only following 20% of safety. And regular review by top management. It is not only top management, it is to be done at different level, maybe at HOD level, maybe at within the plant itself, then at corporate level, sometimes maybe within EHS department. We should have different kind of systems through which continuous review is also taking place for safety management system. Now, basic principles of safety management, where we say that we have to establish and observe a written environment health and safety policy. And the content of this policy, maybe it is 1 page, maybe it is 2 page or 3 pages policy, but the content has to be implemented in letter and spirit. Normally, I have seen out of my experience that policy is there. Commitment is very, very specific, but it is actually not getting translated on the shop floor level when people are, maybe so many people are not knowing about even the corporate policy. What is the policy? They do not know even. What is their responsibility? What are the resources to be provided by the management? What is management's commitment? So everybody must know about that and accordingly work for that. So responsibility and accountability is to be implemented through this policy only. And then create an independent EHS review process. Review is very, very important. We are having everything in place, but review is not taking place. Maybe once when this was formulated, that time situation was different. After 1 year or 2 years, situation is totally different now. But because there is no system of review, management is unable to get the feedback from the concerned people, and it is not revised as per the present requirement. So that is why review, EHS review is very, very important. More review we do, better result we get. And identify and evaluate the consequence of hazard. That means this is risk management, risk analysis. This is very, very important for any industry who management of which think that the safety is the paramount for all our stakeholders, our employees and our contractors, laborers, and whoever is coming inside them, maybe sometimes for the visitors also. So the visitors is also very, very important. Implement with strong zeal. That is very important. The management program against hazards. Once this risk assessment and risk analysis has been done, now immediate action management program has to be implemented so that these risks are either eliminated or these are guarded. That means these are controlled to a level where people will not get that kind of injury or that kind of harm. So either it is to be totally eliminated or it is to be controlled. And then first attempt to eliminate hazards. That means as per the control sequence, we say that it is first elimination and then substitution, then engineering control, then administrative control, and finally it is to be done through PP. That is the last. But normally some people are having this confusion that this is to be done first. Any kind of problem existing aside, give a PP, personal protective equipment, and sort out the problem. But that is the having the least effect, that is the least effective method, control method. So now we come with this slide, now we come to what should be the target for safety, because in lot many industries and at lot many situations, locations, we have seen that the target is zero accident. Or maybe sometimes I'm going one step further ahead. Target is zero fatality. Fatality or major accidents should not take place. If that is achieved, management is very happy. People are very happy. So sometimes it is zero fatal accident, major accident. Sometimes it is zero minor accident. That means reportable accident. Sometimes it is zero near miss. Target is zero near miss. Sometimes it is zero hazards. Which one is the most appropriate and perfect? Zero hazard or risk is the most perfect, because even as per Henry's theory, maybe lot many people attending this program are knowing, who are safety professionals, that the ratio says 1:29:300:3000. That means for any fatal accident, 29 times minor accidents take place, and before that 300 near misses are also existing outside. Maybe there is no proper system of tracking this. That does not mean near misses are not happening. We have to admit this, that 300 near miss happening before 29 minor injuries, reportable injuries are taking place, and before one fatal accident, serious accidents taking place. And even before these 300 near miss, 3,000 hazards are existing at site. That means risk, unsafe condition, unsafe practices. Actually, normally these are in these two forms. So 3,000, that means we can, if you imagine, that means it is totally unsafe. If one fatality is taking place or major accident is taking place at any site, industry or plant, then you can imagine, just we cannot see all these things physically through our eyes, but we can feel 3,000 unsafe condition, unsafe practices were there during a particular period, and that is why it had resulted into one fatal or serious accident. That means that that site is totally unsafe. Anytime more number of serious or fatal accidents or reportable accidents can also take place. So if our target we fix that these hazards or these risks has to be controlled and eliminated totally, so that is the correct target, not the zero accident, not even zero near miss. Near miss is definitely better than these first two, but the ultimate target should be zero hazard or zero risk. So with this, now, I will show this pyramid, safety pyramid. That also talks about that only. If it is on the top, it is only the fatality, then reportable injury, then recordable first aid cases, and then near miss, and then hazards. So these last two are the lead indicators. The remaining all are lag indicators. So if we only think for the lag indicators, that means we are not doing anything for the safety in the true sense. We have to do all activities, keeping it in our mind that we are working for the lead indicators, because these are the results. Fatality or any kind of injury are the result. We should not talk about the result. We should only talk about our actions. What actions we have to initiate from our end. And our actions should be always to control near misses, so that this near misses does not take place. Near miss also takes place out of unsafe condition or unsafe actions, unsafe practices, whether it is accident or near miss. So if we think that this near miss should also not take place, that means we are going for eliminating or controlling hazardous situations, unsafe conditions, unsafe actions. So we have to have a system where on a daily basis, hourly basis, even we have to track and monitor and take corrective actions for elimination of these hazardous conditions. That means unsafe actions and unsafe conditions. This 5E theory is very, very important, where we say that engineering control, education, that means training, and enforcement, whatever is coming out as per or as a result of audit or inspection or review, those gaps are to be closed immediately. That means we should have a strong enforcement system. Otherwise, everything will be on surface, but actions are not taken. So these will remain on the surface. That means unsafe conditions and unsafe actions will remain always at site. And anytime it can give result to an accident. Whether it will be a minor or major, that nobody knows. So in the first instance itself, it can be a very major nature of accident. So our target should, again, I'm talking that our target should be to, first of all, identify what are the hazards existing at site, then how to control or eliminate those hazards. Enforcement part is very important, and then encouragement and empowerment. This comes out as a principal component of behavioral-based safety culture. So that is very, very important, encouragement and empowerment. Unless we empower all individual employee, and we encourage them also. Somebody is doing a very good activity for safety, he should be encouraged also. And empowerment, that means his opinion is very, very important. His suggestion is very, very important for the management to take a decision in safety management system. So what are hazards, risks, and risk management? So hazard is anything which is having a potential to cause any harm. Risk is the chance or likelihood. It can be a low, medium, or high, but whether it is low or medium or high, this is a risk. And I do not know whether because of low risk even, the consequences, something is happening and consequence is very severe. So basically we say that if it is a low risk, then we can continue with the situation for some time, not for a long time, but for some time. If it is a medium risk, then we should take some corrective action and we can carry on with the job. But if it is a high risk, then normally people are advising that the job is to be stopped immediately. If it is having a high risk, then it is to be stopped first, and then corrective actions to be initiated, implemented, and then we can start again the job or the process. But according to me, it's my personal opinion, not talking about the theory, even if it is a low risk also, we should first rectify the situation, because normally it is, so far I have seen, it is not clear. Even for low risk also, sometimes things are happening, and because of some other factors, the consequence is very, very severe. That means in safety, another very important sentence or another very important dialogue is there. We should take zero tolerance. That means that is coming from this theory, actually low or medium or high. So even if it is a low, that means we can take 1% or 2% or 5% risk. No, we should never take. It is a tolerance level is always zero for safety. Risk analysis, then this is the process actually that is very important to identify the hazards, what are the hazards involved, and to take corrective action against that. And while we are taking corrective actions, because everywhere we know that limitation is never unended. Limitations means whether it is in terms of manpower, human resource, whether it is materialistic, other efforts, other resources we are having. So we have to make a judgment about how much efforts we put in controlling the risk in best possible way. So that is known as the risk management. I'm not going into further detail because of the time constraint, but this is most important out of this entire presentation. Risk analysis, we have to do it in a rigorous way for all kinds of activities, not only for the critical activities, because some people are having this kind of feeling that it is to be done for the critical type of activities. I do not believe in that. It is to be done for all activities, whether it is critical or non-critical. Maybe we can start with the critical activities, but risk analysis, identification, and in its management is most important for getting a safe working environment in any plant. Now, while we are doing it, then what should be the logical approach? Logical approach is first you identify the hazards, then decide who are the people who might be harmed and how they may be harmed, and then evaluate the risks. These risks can be done through HERA, through JSA, job safety analysis, through HAZOP or HAZAN, or maybe through fault tree analysis. There are so many technical ways, but at least one should be in place, and that is to be always followed before going for a particular assignment or a particular process or activity. And then consider the options for control. Then out of this analysis, you will find that there may be 1, 2, or 3 or 4 different options coming out. Then discuss these options with interest groups. That means the people who are actually working, these options to be discussed with them and their opinion is to be taken. That means empowerment. And then consensus on optimal option. Before actually we are taking a conclusion that this is to be implemented, this is the best way, we must discuss this entire aspect with the concerned group. That is very, very important. And implement that control measure, then only implement the control measures in place after getting their feedback, their opinion, and then monitor and review. Monitor and review must be there in all activities. So logical approach, this is whether it is logical approach or even a conventional approach. But only this point number 4 and 5 and 6, that means discuss options with the interest groups and consensus on optimal option for sustainable development. These 2 points are here for logical approach. Otherwise, it's not there. When I say that it's not there, that means we are not following these 2. So that is not a logical approach. We must discuss with the interest groups and then consensus on optimal option, and then only we go for the management action. That means the risk management. So I was talking about, this is the hierarchy of control: elimination, substitution, engineering control, administrative, and PP. PP is the least effective and elimination is the most effective. But this is as per the theory. But when we come to the practical field, then it is actually the engineering control, because for many activities, you will find that elimination is not possible at all. It is possible in some cases, definitely. Suppose in construction area, I'm giving one example. In construction area, working at height is the most dangerous job. And if we are doing all the activities at the time of erection of maybe columns and beams and everything, if we are doing entire activities at height only, then the risk is very, very high. So if we can do some of the job at the ground level in fabrication yard, and then we are taking those fabricated material and then we are putting the amount of job to be done at the height, at site, is reduced. So elimination, some kind of job which could have been done in the ground level has been done, and now those kind of risk has been eliminated totally. But this is very few. Substitution means different type of options. Actually, you can do it this way, you can do it that way also. This is more dangerous, this is slightly less dangerous. So we can go for this particular process. So substitution is also not always possible, but engineering control operation with the operation factors, it is every time. Nowadays, everything is, all equipments, all procedure, all activities, all process are having some kind of operational factors. That means inbuilt safety system. What are the problems normally we are facing? That due to the course of the maintenance or otherwise, these systems are not working at a particular point of time, and these are not getting rectified. So after that, the system is going on, operation is going on, process is going on, without having these inbuilt system. As for example, the guard for a coupling guard or maybe a V-belt guard was there. But during a particular maintenance job, this was removed and this could not be put back. Now it is not having that engineering control. So it is a dangerous condition. So unless we feel, that is why I was telling that it is actually our value system. The person who is doing it, it absolutely depends on him. Management cannot do anything over here. Unless he is thinking that until I fix this guard also in its place, my job is not over. I cannot surrender my job certificate or PTW or whatever it is. I cannot submit it back. But normally people are thinking that the job is over. Now the system is running. My job is over. I was trying to put this guard back to its location, but I could not. But for this, the system is not getting any impacted. So my job is over. So if that is the kind of philosophy, or that is the kind of feeling we are having, then it's very difficult. So we should always feel that unless this guard is also put back, my job is not over. So this engineering control, normally everywhere it is. So we can start at least from there, engineering control, and then administrative control, and then PP. So, but we should not feel that PP is the first corrective action. If that kind of feeling we are having, then it is very difficult to manage safety. Primary action. Now these are categorized in 3 groups actually: primary action, secondary action, and tertiary action. So in the primary action, we can put those first two together. That means elimination or the substitution process. But secondary action means administrative, mainly for administrative actions. That means putting a guard, or maybe sometimes it's a barricading, and then we are putting some warning boards to warn people, or maybe sometimes the area is restricted and somewhere lifting of materials is being done through cranes and other lifting equipments. It is being lifted at height, and the ground level, it is free for anybody. They can move on through that particular area. Anytime if there is a failure of slings or the crane itself, the material will fall down, and then people who are passing through that area, it may fall under them, and there may be a very serious nature of accident. So that particular area where the lifting operation is going on is barricaded. One kind of administrative action. And then tertiary action means it is counseling, psychological help, or in together we can say that these are actually tertiary action, means these are the supportive for above 2, primary and secondary action, where PP is also falling in that. So basically risk management is an art, it is not a science. That means we have to, judgment is to be done by ourselves. Nowhere it is mentioned how it is to be done and when it is to be done. Judgment is absolutely on us. Now we'll just make a difference, or we'll just make a kind of see what are the positive thing and negative thing in traditional concept and behavioral based safety culture. Traditional concept, that means conventional concept, is talking about, it's a top-down approach. Everything is coming from the topmost person to the down level, everything. And when it is coming from the topmost person, it is always a kind of instruction. It is not that I am totally convinced. The person who is actually to follow the system, safety system, he may or may not be totally convinced, but because it is coming as an instruction, he thinks that I have to follow. Maybe he is having so many problems, but even then he thinks that I have to follow. Otherwise, there can be an action. So it is a top-down approach, and it is mainly focusing on regulations and guidelines. Sometimes it is external regulations, sometimes it is internal guidelines. We are having this kind of systems where everything is being mentioned in do's and don'ts. So you do this, don't do this. But I don't know, if we try to do this like this, there may be so many problems. But even then, I have been asked by my management, by my superior, that needs to be done by this. And if I cannot do it safely, what are the options or what are the probabilities that this can be done in more safer manner? That kind of things are not coming from the management. That means stop. So this is focusing actually on the regulations and guidelines. There will be so many problems also to implement or to follow. It actually treats the symptoms. It is not doing the root cause analysis. And this is definitely an external enforcement. Somebody is telling, and that is other person is doing. So it is an external enforcement. It is not an internal enforcement. And as a result, it is following safety out of compulsion. Everything is out of compulsion. So we can understand whether it is very good, whether it is good, or it will not give result. Now it is a behavioral based concept where it talks about a bottom up approach. That means everything will be decided after discussing with the concerned group. Concerned group means who are actually doing the job. Maybe sometimes he's a very junior person, maybe sometimes he's at the middle level management, but whoever is actually responsible for execution of the job, he must be discussed and his opinion must be respected. So that kind of approach in behavioral based concept, and it focusing on definitely employee behavior. Actually, we are not going in the next slide. It will be very, very clear. Now it is focusing actually on the employee behavior. It is not directly targeting on the incidents or accidents. Then addresses the root cause, and then internal enforcement, because now he is convinced that this is to be done like this. If he is convinced that it is to be done, even if it is sometimes external enforcement also, he is now totally convinced because there was a discussion and brainstorming, and after that only consensus has been achieved. So when it is totally convinced, so he knows how to do it and why to do it and what is the best possible way to do it. So internal enforcement is very, very important. And following safety, therefore, it is following safety out of conviction. That means this is my value system. I have to do like that only to avoid any physical injury or accident. Now, this is, I don't think this is to be discussed now. This can be discussed at a later stage when I'll talk about the key to success. Now, this is traditional concept. Again, different activities we are doing for the safety management system, whether it is training, whether it is meetings, whether it is different policies and its implementation, whether it is risk analysis we are doing, audit and inspection we are doing regularly, whatever activities we are doing. What is our target? In the traditional concept, we all do it with a target of elimination of accidents. Normally, whether we say it or not, but our target is elimination of accidents so that we can get a zero accident or zero man-days lost free. So this kind of thing is there inside our mind actually. So elimination of accident is our target now in the traditional concept, whatever activities we are doing. But in the behavioral-based concept, all those activities, as was mentioned in the previous slide, whatever activities we are doing, but we are doing it, our feeling is now, our target is now to eliminate at-risk behaviors. At-risk behaviors means mainly it is two types, whether it is unsafe condition or unsafe actions. So we want to eliminate those type of behaviors which are creating actually the accident. So it is not coming directly, activities and then in between elimination of at-risk behaviors. That means hazard elimination. Now we are talking about the hazard elimination, not accident. Zero accident. Now zero at-risk behavior. So that is the idea. And for that, whatever we are doing, then our measurement and our review to be done on this aspect, whether earlier the problem was this much, now the problem is reduced. That means at-risk behaviors, earlier it was say 70%, now whether it has come down to 60%, overnight it cannot be zero. But if earlier it was 70%, now whether it has become 65%, whether now next year the unsafe behaviors at the site is getting 40% or 50%, that has to be monitored. And these are the end result. We should, for the timing, we should forget about that. How many numbers of accidents has happened. But if ultimately we can get at any site working area, the at-risk behavior is zero, theoretically, there is no possibility of meeting with any accident. That means that is the total safety culture. Total safety culture is inculcated in that particular working site. So now, what are the obstacles to success? Why we are unable to manage a very good safety management system in any working site normally? It is because of lack of management commitment. That means management commitment is very, very important, and that is to be highlighted through the policy, effective EHS policy. And whatever management committee is there, it is to be implemented. Again, I am repeating, it is to be implemented in letter and spirit. Otherwise, it will remain in the paper, but actually it is not getting transformed at the site level, will not get the result. So management commitment and then its implementation will lack sometimes. Poorly maintained facilities, management committees there, good EHS policies also there, but to implement those things, the content of the policy, facilities required, we are not having. Then it cannot be. Then lack of resources, whether it is material resources, whether it is human resources, that has to be in place. Then only we can manage. We're having a good safety EHS policy, but to implement those, the necessary or concerned department, existence of the department is not there. Even if the department is there, but competent persons are not there. So then also it will be of no use. Top-down management practices, that means the traditional concept. Everything cannot be done through traditional. For certain things, management practice, top-down management practice is effective, but that is only for 20%. Again, I'm telling 80% could be achieved through behavioral base. That means bottom-up approach. Safety not treated as a value system. Whatever we are doing, we only think that this is to be done only to follow the statutory requirement, regulations, internal guidelines. unless we think that it is for our own system, it is for my own health and health or good safety of my family members, nothing can be achieved. So it should be treated as a value system, and then poor planning and execution. Everything is there, but planning execution is not perfect. That is why you are not achieving. And inadequate and improper training. That is very, very important. Training part is very important for a continual improvement, we can say. Continual improvement, training and retraining is very important. And then training, retraining means along with the feedback, that what is the success. We have conducted 5 training programs. Then feedback system should be there even after each and every training program. That whether really this has been benefited the particular group of people who have attended, whether there is a benefit, whether even if it is for 5%, but whether that is visible or not. That means whenever we are organizing a training program, conducting a training program, proper module, the list of participants that this particular group is targeted now, and along with the program module is designed, and then faculty, and then it is delivered. So that kind of systematic training program and with feedback, that is very, very important. So these are some of the obstacles to our success. But key to success, ultimately we have to think for the key to success way forward. So these are some of the points, maybe 9-10 points are there. We have to always be positive. For anything, we should never say or utter these words that no, this is not possible. I know that this could be done, and that is the best way or safest way, but this could not be done because this cannot be done because of this problem. We should always think that yes, it is possible. To protect ourselves for good safety, for health, we have to be always positive, and everything is needed for a good safety and perfect working environment. We have to do. Maybe sometimes there are some problems, but we have to overcome those problems. Otherwise, everything will not come as an easy flow. For safety, everything will not come as easy flow. Sometimes there will be a hurdle. We have to overcome those hurdles. So be always positive, and we have to be proactive. That means preventive actions, as many as possible. Preventive actions. We should not believe in investigation and inquiries. Accident is happening, then we are learning from the lessons. There is a word, learning from lessons. This is actually bogus, and this is not giving any result. I can tell you, out of my experience, I have seen number of accidents and then number of investigation by a good or technical inquiry committee. Number one, the root cause analysis to be done, but in the name of so-called root cause analysis, a superficial, absolutely a superficial analysis is coming out. Even the recommendations coming out of those superficial analysis also are not getting implemented. As a result, after some time, it's a repetition of accident, either in the same location or maybe in some other location. So our approach should be always preventive, not reactive. Let something happen, out of that or through that inquiry committee, we learn something, how this has happened, and then what are the recommendations or suggestions. We will implement those suggestions, and then it will stop. Never. It should always be through mapping of existing hazards. Mapping of existing hazards means through risk analysis. So risk analysis, the industry or the plant where a good risk analysis and risk management system is prevailing, safety standard is definitely much better with respect to any other industry. So risk analysis, risk management is the only proactive action. So we should always follow proactive actions, not reactive. Then conviction, not the compulsion. Focus on eliminating hazards, as I was telling. Now again, it's a repeat actually, not accidents. Let us forget about the accidents, incidents, or even near miss. We should always focus on the unsafe condition, unsafe actions are taking place at site by people, and those are to be corrected immediately, as fast as possible, ASAP. And then implement a BBS type of approach. Then definitely this will achieve this focus on eliminating hazards if we go for BBS type of approach, behavioral-based safety approach. Involvement of everybody in safety management, that is very, very important. So unless all stakeholders are thinking and doing their best for managing safety or doing a good safety activity, this is very difficult to achieve. We should always strive for the continual improvement. Continual improvement means unless we think for total safety culture, it is very difficult. We have to always think for inculcating a total safety culture, not even this BBS culture, and then we have eliminated totally these unsafe conditions, unsafe actions. That means the hazard. But even then, we have to think for a total safety culture that includes so many other things, including elimination of total hazards. So unless we are going for a continual improvement, we are not in a position to achieve or inculcate a good safety culture. So we have to go for a good safety culture. And then skill development and capacity building. So skill development and capacity building for all level of employees, that is very important, and that is also a continuous activity. And then fix accountability and responsibility. Accountability, responsibility fixing is very, very important. Without these two, we cannot achieve. And then frequent review by top management. And when we say top management, it is not that some CEO or some MD, they have to take only top management, even by sometimes for a particular group, the HOD, that means head of the department, is also top management for that particular group. So it is to be done at different level regularly, sometimes maybe within the EHS group department itself, sometimes at HOD level, sometimes at HOP, head of the plant level, sometimes at corporate level or regional level. So it is to be done. More we are doing this review, we are achieving better safety standard at site. So with this, I conclude. Thank you very much for your listening, and we'll take your questions maybe during the specified time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gangopadhyay, for a very, very enlightening presentation, very detailed for a layman like me, and I'm sure even the industry professionals who have joined us and students from the academia. Every single slide was so very well explained. You know, the structure which you initiated at the beginning of the, in your presentation, the structure which you displayed, I think it gave a lot of clarity to very basic subjects, very important subjects. The pyramid structure which you showed in one of your earlier slides, I think that forms the basis, and your emphasis on preventive culture, I think, is one of the key takeaways. I think reactive, we all say that, even after the Vizag gas leak, there was a detailed inquiry commission set up, Supreme Court judge and a detailed committee, with all due respect, came out with this report of, several 100 pages. And one of the key findings was mentioned in one of the paragraphs in that thick report, which was that the safety staff of the LG Chem accident or the LG Chem plant, the safety staff was on contract. So you can imagine the level of importance or priority which the LG Chem or that plant occupier gave to safety. It was not in his priority, and you have very clearly mentioned in your presentation that safety should not be an accessory. It should be a mainstream, like your production, like your marketing, sales, finance. Sales safety should be up there in that top list of important and critical functions of an organization. And I'm really, it was really appalling, to actually, digest the fact that, and also difficult to digest that LG Chem level organization or a plant had hired contractual workers for safety. And I'm sure for their production, they would not have contractual labor, but for safety, they had contractual labor. So this is the level of priority. This is where we want to spread sensitive, we want to sensitize the industry professionals and the leadership that, the more they turn towards preventive culture, the better it is for in their long run, the better would be the productivity, performance, profits of their organization. And it is one of the neglected areas, but I'm sure, in changing times, these, with India going towards Industry 4.0, the world going towards the industrialization 4.0, and industrial safety plays a very important and fundamental role in the new set of the industrialization which will come about in the world. I'm sure we will also catch up with experts like you and with the enthusiasts like our participants, who are almost 300 in number now. I'm sure the times will change, and we are heading towards a safer working environment in the country. Thank you so much, Mr. Gangopadhyay, for your very, very crisp and very exciting, interesting presentation. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please, if you have any questions for Mr. Gangopadhyay, feel free to mention those questions in the Q&A section. We already have a list of such questions in the window, and I will request Gangopadhyay ji to please, if you could spare a few minutes to check those questions in the Q&A window, and if you deem right, you could please answer them. We would anyways take these questions if they're not answered, or we'll acknowledge these questions at the end of the session after the presentation of Mr. Ashok Lal. Now we have Mr. Ashok Lal with us. Ashok Lal ji is a very eminent expert in the area of industrial safety, one of the recognized names, with some great achievements in the area of safety. A brief introduction before I ask Ashok Lalji to have his presentation on the screen. Ashok Lalji, I hope I'm audible, and can we have a quick audio check for you as well? Mr. Lal, yes.
I think the part you are able to hear me.
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Yes, we all can hear you. I would like to give a brief introduction of Mr. Lal. Mr. Lal is the Executive Director at the Center for Safety Management in Noida, Uttar Pradesh. He has been the Honorary Secretary to the National Safety Council. He has drafted legislation for safety of construction workers while working in Ministry of Labour, been involved in enforcement of safety legislation at Kandla Port. Shri Lal has formulated all safety-related documents, policies, disaster management plan, PTW documents, conducted safety trainings and safety audits while working in NTPC. Shri Lal started corporate safety departments in NTPC and headed as HOD for over 15 years. He successfully headed safety department STPC power projects of Dadri and Simhadri, both. Thank you so much, Mr. Lal, for joining us yet again today for this OTP to share your knowledge, expertise, and experience with over 300 participants who joined us. On that note, I'll hand it over to you for your presentation. You've got it's 40 to 45 minutes, and I'm sure that would be almost enough for you to communicate with our participants. Over to you, Mr. Lal.
Thank you, Mr. Sood. Our other friends, Mr. Ganguly, and those who are participants in this training program. Okay, I think my visual is not there. Hello?
We don't see your video, sir. And is the presentation also to be uploaded, sir?
That is with Mr.
Yes.
Sanjeev.
It is coming up. It is coming up.
Yeah. Okay, in the meantime, I can start talking.
Yes, please go ahead, sir. Yes.
Yeah. Actually, Mr. Ganguly has talked a lot, and he has told a lot about the management, the priorities, etc. Really, this is all very important. But what we did find in our real life is something very funny. I'll start. Okay. My presentation. Yes. Next slide, please. Next slide, please.
I think there is a lag, so it will, once it starts moving, it will move faster.
Yeah, I'm trying to find out actually.
Gaurav,
Uh,
Yeah, please tell me the
yes.
page number, sir.
Yeah, next slide, please. Next slide, please.
number two.
Yeah, number 2.
Page number 2.
Okay. Actually, I just wanted to tell it to you about the severity, the problems of this. What is happening over there? What is happening to the industry? FICCI is a big group of industries, and they are representing virtually whole of Indian industry. Actually, when something happens, really it is so. I mean, so funny, so troubling. In India, we had got this gas leak, MIC leak, in Union Carbide, Bhopal. You know what was the outcome? The outcome is that Union Carbide, which is known to be very leading industry in India and different other countries, including USA, now it is not known anywhere. Now it has lost its survival. It is not there at all. What has happened for employees? They all have to go. What they killed thousands and thousands of Indian persons. That is all created so bad image that even American industry they have to close down this Union Carbide. Nuclear power stations in Germany and Japan, they have lost their existence because of these hazards and accidents over there. Chernobyl in Russia, 3 Mile Island also closed this power plants there. Now, just look into the employee who is working over there. What is his condition? His condition is very bad when he's unsafe. And can you imagine a person who is working in a construction area on whose roof, on his head, something may fall over there? He always fears productivity is much less. Now, we tried to collect some statistical data from different sources, and we did find that the loss because of accident is 1.2 lakhs of crores, 1.2 lakhs of crores in India. If you look into America, it is almost $700 billion, too high, and it can develop industry like anything. Next, number 3, please. Slide number 3, please. Okay. Now, if we take these losses into consideration, 1.2 lakhs of crores, if it could have come to the government, what could have been the situation? The government, out of this, this should have been turned into the profit. And out of this profit, we should have gone how much quantum of tax, huge quantum of tax we could have got. But we couldn't get because of this lack of safety culture. It could have saved a lot on their medical expenses. The workers, those who meet, someone will lose his hand, someone will lose his eye, or some this type of hazards. So, if suppose we could have taken safety precautions in the beginning, this all expenditure could have been saved. That could have been provided better welfare facilities to the employees. ESIC, the hospital, Employees State Insurance Corporation Hospital, they could have provided a cheaper rate because the number of those who are coming over there on any other health ground could have been much less. Lot money could have been saved. You see, I still remember. I remember when I was posted at Kandla Port in Gujarat. I was going somewhere and I was finding any person without a hand or leg. I mean, out of my interest, I was asking, what happened? And we are told that because of at Kandla Port, something fell on my hand is lost, my leg is lost, or likewise. So, if you look into this issue, this could have been saved a lot for rehabilitation purposes. Otherwise, what is he will have to live with one hand. Skilled manpower, those who were killed over there, they could have been saved if safety culture is followed in that organization. Next, please, number 5. Number 5, please. Only yesterday, those who have seen today's TV, they might have seen that in Gujarat, in one of the COVID hospital, 11 persons were burnt over there, and out of that, 5 were killed. There's some misprint. 5 persons were killed in Gujarat, one of the leading state, powerful state. Only last month in Ahmedabad, and another COVID hospital, 8 persons were killed over there, but it appears nobody has taken any interest to prevent such fires over there. Those who might be knowing, in Calcutta Emery fire, 89 persons were killed. 89. Why? Because in the basement they have killed a lot of waste material which is not otherwise allowed. In Delhi AIIMS, if you look into last 15 years, almost half a dozen fires have occurred on different occasions. It happened 2020. Last year also it happened, or likewise. In Noida Metro Hospital also there was fire. There was a fire. Actually, what happens when we want to stop it? Then only we can save confidence of our patients that they should come there. I remember after Emery fire, for another 1 year, nobody was interested to go to that hospital. Nobody was interested to go to the hospital. And the similar thing will happen in the hospitals also, where the fire incidences are very common, or the fire incidents are not controlled over there. Who will do it? Obviously the management. Mr. Ganguly has already told you. I have seen a number of hospitals where fire exits, they are closed, they are locked over there from security point of view, or opposite their fire exit, they have kept some tables, chairs, or other material over there. So if we want to stop it, we want to stop these accidents, we will have to be very serious about it. Next, please. Number 6. Number 6, please. You see, my worker has to work in a very, very difficult situation. Workplace temperature. When I was doing diploma in health safety, I went to Visakhapatnam steel plant. Near the this blast furnace, the temperature is such that if you just cross over there, it is very uncomfortable. You cannot. I could not. I didn't go there. I said it is not possible. So I didn't go over there. Now, at many places, the environment is very harmful. In Bharat Pumps and Compressors Limited, where rotary head furnace was there, lot of carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide was generated. And they were asked, the workers were asked to work over there. What they have done, they have put a fan over there so that air is shunted just away from them, but it is affecting other persons. Difficult posters. If we are not given a right posters, it is very difficult for one to work. Illumination. If proper illumination is not there, there is possibility of lot of accidents. And one thing more I like to tell it to you here. When I provide illumination, I just ask, I just treat that my employees are at the age of 25, 30 or 35 or something like that. But when the same person becomes older, when it becomes 50, then at that time, what is the level of illumination is required in comparison to a person of age of 20? It is just 5 times. That must be considered when we are providing illumination and we are providing employees over there. That the illumination requirement is proportionate to the age of the worker. High vibration. This causes a lot of skeleton vibrations. High noise reduces noise-induced hearing losses And there are many incidences where accidents had occurred because of this. Next, please. Additionally, when I come to the work, I think most of my friends are aware. More, I'll say, actually, Mr. Sood was telling about Visakhapatnam report, that the safety officer was there on contract, a contract labor, virtually I'll call it. He is supposed to have a certain qualification, he is supposed to have some knowledge. But what happens, most of the organizations, they appoint safety officers with lesser knowledge at cheaper rates. And that is why they keep it on contract, no liabilities for them. And when they work over there, they have got, looking into the responsibilities, they have got a lot of pressure on them. The bosses will fire them every day. This is what I'm watching. More on construction sites or likewise. Clear message is not there. It is not told what way very clearly. They say work in a nice way, work in a right way. But what is the right way? That is never told to them. Training, appropriate training, along with the facilities what's required, is not there. I remember many cases where it is written over there, for working at height, use a safety ladder. But safety ladder is not there. And they have to work without a ladder whatsoever is available over there. Stand up on them and walk over there. Personal protective equipments, you'll write everywhere. Nowadays, personal protective equipment is a very common, commonly known word. Most about the hospital staff, those who are dealing with corona. But this personal protective equipment is for all activities. I remember I'm looking into this when I came into the safety field in 1975, that you require different personal protective equipments for different purposes. For working at height, you require a safety belt, safety harness. For eye injuries, you require proper goggles or face shield or likewise. For foot finger injuries, you require a safety shoe. Actually, what is there? It is not there. I remember I went to one of the power plants, which is working at height, hydro area. There the temperature is sub-zero. There is snowfall. Ordinary safety shoes will not work over there. Then they require snow, safety shoes for snow, where inside the shoe, they have got another layer to protect them from cold. So when we are deciding our personal protective equipment, we will have to decide on the basis of real requirement over there what type of personal protective equipment should be there. It is not there what BHL Hardwar has given, I should also give, or BHL, any organization that I have told only for example. Work pressure. When I put lot of work pressure on a worker, he's under tension and it's another hazard in the plant. Unsafe working equipment. I'll show you one of the equipment in subsequent slides. If equipment is not unsafe, it is likely to cause an accident. If access is not there, proper gangways are not there, proper way of going or coming is not there, it's really unsafe and it can create lot of problems. Working facilities, if it is not there, as I referred one case of a safety ladder, you require so many. For example, where floor may be slippery, you require anti-slippery mat over there. When one is to work on electrical panel, it requires insulated panel flooring over there so that a person is not electrocuted. Now, next slide, please. 8. Please. Next slide, please. Yeah, I have mentioned here some like slippery floors where fencing is not provided over there on rotating machines. Unguarded machine. If machine is not guarded appropriately, there's always possibility one will be caught over there in the machine. Will be caught in. Lack of electrical earthing, loss of, creates if suppose I give you information, total electrocution cases in India, it is almost 25,000 persons are electrocuted every year. Lack of illumination or workplace, working table, you require a proper where particularly fine work is to be done. Unsafe working platform is there, another problem. Environmental factor causing nuisance, as I told you, where CO or CO2 is more, it is another danger. Yes, next please. Next one. You see, one photo, we is showing one person caught over there. Had this machine been guarded, appropriate guard is there, this could not have occurred. But probably nobody has given a thought. Mr. Ganguly has told you appropriate design that should be there. But here, appropriate design, I do not know whether it was made or not. But in this particular case, guard was not there and the person died like this. Next, please. Next, please. Next, please. Next slide, please.
Then could you just play the video once? I just wanted to check.
Okay. Here, I have given you two newspaper cuttings. A small child, he touched the cooler and it died. It is in Greater Noida. Another again in Greater Noida, a farmer, he died because when he was doing irrigation job, he was electrocuted because of electric shock. It's very, 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 very common, this type of thing. Okay, you will be surprised that more than 5,000 persons are killed every year just by touching electric pole. Because electric pole is not unsafe, electric pole is not earth over there. If earthing is not there, it is always causing a hazard. And that hazard is such that he has no choice. Nobody has made arrangements that it should not be there. I was just talking to CA and I asked a question whether you have got something, some inspection schedule for all of these things. You see, in old electricity rules, there was a system that Indian electoral inspector will visit and all factories, all these electrical installations every 5 years, and if those who are unsafe will got disconnected. Now, one fellow, one or two electrical inspectors, they have to look for 5 lakhs or 10 lakhs connections. Can they do it? No. So they are sitting at home. They are not doing anything. When I recall when Mr. Modi became the Prime Minister, he told we want to involve ourselves less. And he gave a very, very good example that in every multi-storied building, you have got multiple lifts. There is a procedure, according to Mr. Modi, this is a fact also. There is a procedure that electrical inspector will go and visit all these lifts and check for its safety. But because is only limited in number, he cannot do it. He suggested that why owner should not be held responsible for this. Owner should look into. Owner should see my building, this lift is safe. Electrical inspector involvement should be out. So similarly, what I suggest here, this electrical installations, every house should be inspected, not by government, not by electrical inspector, not by outsider. Those who are providing me connection, electrician of this electricity supply company, he should go and see. He should find out whether my house is safe or not. And he can do it because he is living within you and he can find out about it. Next, please. Next, please. Next, please. You see, this is a motor I have taken at one of the workplace. No earthing, only two tires, two wires are there that also spread on the ground. Because of earthing, it can always kill some person. Next, please. I was telling you about another condition. Uh, you see, this is a grinder. Grinder is supposed to have proper guard so that when I'm doing some grinding job, the flying particles will not go into my eyes. It will not make me blind. And not only that, the flying particles, even it can enter, even spear into my skin. And it is very difficult to take out of the skin. But when I visit most of the factories, most of the power plants, most of the industries, in more than 90% cases, I did find that these grinders are not safe. Another thing in grinder which is very, very dangerous, that gap between a wheel and a tool rest should not be more than 1/8 of an inch, means 3 millimeter. And nobody ever bothers. You know what has happened in many cases when a tool which I am grinding, it came over there because it is a higher space is there, and it broken this grinding wheel. And in that case, grinding wheel flies like a missile, and those to whom it touches over there, it kills. I've seen many cases when Kandla also I've seen even the ships, many persons, many such death cases were recorded over there. But nobody, I told you 90% of cases, these grinders are not safe. And probably either the persons are not knowing or the persons are not bothered about it. Next, please. Now, there are many other issues. I use hazardous chemicals. In past, we were using, when Mr. Ganguly told, he told a substitution. When I was using a tool for cleaning, I was using benzene. Benzene is one which causes cancer. Lot of work was being done over there. And subsequently, it came that instead of benzene, we should use toluene, which is not hazardous. Similarly, health issues. When I'm not bothered about the health of my employee, he may have a lot of problems, and he can also cause an accident. We will have to work for prevention of health hazards. We'll have to see that those who are working over there are safe from the hazards. For example, in a power plant, coal dust is a big nuisance. And it causes a coal minus pneumoconiosis if proper precaution is not taken. If we want to make it safe, we'll have to make it necessary for protect from electrical accidents. Next, please. Next, please. Next, please. Yeah, toxic poisonous gas leak. It was told by Mr. Sood also. I was really worried about. He told that in LG factory there was an inquiry where at that time because of styrene, 11 deaths were there and 1,000 non-fatal injuries were there. Report could have come. I do not know what is the outcome of the report, what the Chief Inspector of Factories has done it, and what really is going to be effective. Probably what we should see, what accountability Ganguly also talked over there. If inspector, a factory inspector, if he's not doing his job, he should also be taken to the task. He should also see if the poisonous gases are there, what way it is being done. The law says that this safety officer will have to in a particular scale, means it cannot be on contact. This I'm telling about Andhra. But that has been done as per the inquiry. Nobody, so here, if we want to stop it, we'll have to, set everything right. come major fires, numerous major fires are there. Explosions, number of explosions occur in the factories. Biological hazards, today we are talking about this corona, but hazards were there in the beginning and more it will come in future. Chemical hazards, when I'm working in a different chemical environment, there can be different chemical hazards. There's thousands and thousands of chemicals which can cause us problems. We'll have to dilute its, concentration and have to put it to the, lowest level within the threshold limit value we want to use it. Otherwise, have a prediction. Otherwise, have a substitution. You have a change or likewise. Next, please. See, this is Visakhapatnam toxic gas leak. This slide shows you leaves. Final figures are more than 1,000 persons are affected because of that. Next, please. This is about 1984 gas leak. This is about, you might have heard the Jaipur fire. Jaipur in oil storage tanks, there was a fire. 15 fatalities occurred, more than 170 persons, and the biggest thing was over there. Please, backward, return one, previous one. What has happened? When the oil was burning, over there was no control. Nobody could do anything. And when the minister was asked over there, when this fire will be extinguished, he said, God knows. It will extinguish when the petrol is finished. And it took more than 48 hours. The smoke came from Jaipur to Delhi. There's a completely blackening was there. Caused 15 fatalities and 170 injured. Next, please. You see, another case in a power station, the chimney collapsed. And it killed 50 persons. Nobody bothered. There was Chinese engineers. They all ran away. Next, please. This is again a case of a Jaipur fire. The steel plates were become something like a plastic one. It melted like anything. And if proper precaution could have been taken, proper extinguishing media could have been there, probably this could have been saved. Next, please.
Hello.
Yeah.
Anji, good afternoon, Anji.
Hello.
प्रोसेस हो रही है, अब तो पेमेंट होने वाली है. उनकी बात प्रियंका से भी हो गई थी. उसने अप्रूव वगैरह कर दिया होगा, उसने मेल कर दिया है. तो वो तो अपने अभी मेल तो मेरे कल आज नहीं तो इस सोचा था कि इस महीने में हो जाएगी, इस मंथ के एंड में. तो अगले हफ्ते तो हो जाएगी. पेमेंट प्रोसेस कर रहा है, वही कर रहा है. क्या नाम उसका? सैगल.
हेलो.
एक करके सारी कर रहा है पेमेंट. ऑब्वियसली खुला.
Next thing is gas leaks are also possible where has happened in the past. Now a new thing is a terrorist attack is another hazard which we will have to face in future. Next, please. Next, please. What is the position today? Now, because of COVID, and the lakhs of cases are coming every day all over the world, then the things have been very difficult. We are world leader. We have a rate of fatality and the rate of even identification is much less, but hazards are there. At this time, we will have to stop unnecessarily travel. We will have to keep our hands clean. Proper hygiene will have to be there. We'll have to sanitize as far as possible. Social distancing of 2 meters and use of mask is there. And that is particularly I'm talking for this corona time. All measures suggested or directed by the government will have to be followed. Almost above are necessary for a good and safe future. Next, please. So I'll end it over here. And if anybody is having any query, because of a restriction of time, we cannot go more than this. So in case of any query, anybody has got it, you can always be in contact with me or this forum or the email or mobile number which is given over there. Thank you. Thank you, please.
Thank you, Mr. Lal, for a very detailed and interesting presentation. And apologies to all the participants. I accidentally unmuted my mic, so for a few seconds although it turned out to be a funny situation where my colleagues started calling me. So I'm really sorry for that interruption. But as you would have witnessed this very detailed presentation from Mr. Ashok Lal, it reflects the rich experience which he's gained over last 3 to 4 decades of working in the industry. And I think some ground realities, were clearly visible in his presentation, and I think it also echoed facts which were discussed in the past 3 days, especially what was discussed, what also was demonstrated through the presentations, through the presentation made by Mr. Gangopadhyay, followed by the presentation made by Mr. Lal. I think there were a lot of learnings. There were a lot of realities which were, some of them were bitter realities also. But eventually, I think such is the subject of industrial safety that the more understanding we have on the subject, the better it is, not only from a safety point of view, but more importantly from a productivity point of view also, and profitability point of view also. I think there is a business opportunity which also lies in promoting safety in an organization, not only for yourself, but for your suppliers, your vendors, your customers, all of that. And I think one of the very key things which we like to share with all our participants is that which I briefly spoke about on the first day, is that in times to come, no organization will like to attach itself or work with another organization where industrial safety is not a priority. I think now, in times to come, with the industrialization 4.0, we are standing at a position globally where the industrialization 4.0 will be introduced, and in that, safety of the employees is one of the fundamentals of that particular trend. And if that is not taken up seriously, no organization, other organization would like to do business with you, and which can definitely, which will in a way affect your profitability and productivity. So the more deeply we think of this subject as an integral part of our daily operation, like we consider sales and production and human resource. I think part of that human resource, providing safety to your human resource is of utmost importance. And I think this has been very well reflected in the presentations which have been given not only today, but during the last 3 days. We have Dr. Ashish Mittal also with us, an expert on occupation safety, who spoke yesterday afternoon. I think we've been very fortunate. Rather, I personally have this opinion that I've been very fortunate to be a part of, the audience who could listen and could witness this great knowledge sharing from these eminent experts. So thank you so much, Mr. Lal, yet again, for a very enlightening and a visionary presentation. Thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you, please.
Now we have a set of questions. I would request my colleague Varun, who was quick to point out on my chat window, because we parallelly have a WhatsApp group where we keep updating each other, who was quick to point out that all the payments have been made on a very, on a lighter note. My apologies again for that interruption, and sorry, Mr. Lal, for that few seconds of interruption between your presentation.
It's okay.
Varun, if you could check with Dr. Muzaffar Ahmed, our chief guest for the valedictory, if he could join us, so that meanwhile I'm taking some questions which have come up, some list of great questions which have come up from the participants for both the speakers. Thank you so much, Mr. Gangopadhyay, for responding to many of those questions, not only on the chat window, but also in the question and answer section. We really appreciate your effort and your gesture. This really helps us take and answer more and more questions in the process, because taking sometimes all the questions is practically impossible. But I'm glad you could take up most of them. I would, as Mr. Gangopadhyay has answered most of the questions, but the questions will be open for comments from both of you gentlemen. I have few questions, and Mr. Lal, you can also refer to the question and answer window, and there are questions which are relevant which you would like to answer. There is a question from Chandrasekhara. Can you kindly brief safety aspects during design itself? Can you kindly brief? Yes. Ashok Lalji, I think what Chandrasekhara also means that during process design, as per OISD, how can the safety be an integral part or integrated in the design process itself? How important is it?
It is very important. Let me tell it to you. When I design a system over there, particularly certain chemicals area, some certain chemicals, we will have to decide because the first thing is I'm going to make my employees safe. So we will have to find out how these chemicals can harm my employees and what way I can make safe to them. You see, there are many things. For example, as I told you, in case of benzene that was substituted with toluene, there's a understood thing. We will have to decide. When I'm making even a room, I was working in a power plant in a coastal area. Everything, stairs on my cooling tower, that was made of steel, and that was painted over there. By another 2 years, that was rusted over there, and that we had to throw it. So what design is required to find out what materials should I use for that ladder. You see, you cannot make it anything. You cannot because that will corrode over there. And now they've used a fiber for making that steel and to go up to 160-meter height. Similarly, we will have to use whatever the material we are using. For example, where we are using acid or alkalis we are storing, we will have to use a fiber tank, or at least we'll have to have a layer inside the tank with that fiber with no leakage. Otherwise, that will corrode and that will not work over there. We will have to see there are certain chemicals which are more harmful for older person. If that is so, even for minor, we will not simply think over that there will be no leakage. We will have to always believe there can be some small leakage, and we'll have to see that only those persons are appointed over there that are not affected because of that particular thing. Similarly, when we are using, you see, I visited one of these milk factory in Ghaziabad, Pilakua, Mother Dairy. Here, they have designed over there like these polythene caps. They will automatically go and they will not come into contact with any sharp objectives. Otherwise, that will just cut it, and that will create more problems. So these all things, it will all depend from chemical to chemical. For example, this what happened in MIC, that was to be stored on sub-zero temperature, and that is why it is kept in underground, just to save it. But somebody switched off it just to save electricity, and this all incidents occurred. So here, when I'm planning how it is to be stored, I visited some of these where gas filling is there. I visited Gurgaon, Badshahpur. There, they have got a bullet over there, and that is protected from all the sides. That at different all areas, the pressure regulators are there, pressure measurements are there. They simply do not believe any pressure will not increase, and that will be all right. So here, everything will depend upon what type of chemical we are using or what type of a particular thing we are using and how it can be hazardous. If these things are taken into account. And one thing more is there, it is not only design. After design, implementation is equally important. If it is properly fitted over there, safety guards are properly fitted over there, safety systems are properly fitted over there, then only it will work. I got a film, I think most of our friends might have seen it, Bhopal. There, none of the system was working. The pressure gauges were not working. You see, if when chemical which is increasing the pressure, it can kill. But nobody was knowing how much pressure is there because the pressure gauge was not working and they didn't purchase because of financial crisis or whatsoever maybe the reason. So when I'm having this system, we'll have to follow a system. And the continuous monitoring is there. I referred to 2 fires within 2 months in 2-3 months in Gujarat and COVID hospital. In one case, it happened today or yesterday, some 5 persons are killed, another 8 persons are killed in Ahmedabad. We will have to monitor continuously. We'll have to, owner will have to see, the government will have to see, inspectors will have to see, fire department will have to see, but nobody bothers. AIMS, half a dozen fires have occurred, nobody bothered about. And I asked the director of fire services, he says, we have got limited employees. I'll tell you, at the last, I'll tell you a simple case study, not related to chemical. I visited this Bikaji Gama place. Always in this basement where car parking is there, one entry will have to be, one place will be there for entry and exit will have to be different. But there, just to enter more cars, exit they have closed so that 3-4 more cars may be there. Very dangerous killer. Yes, please.
No, I think that's very pertinent what you mentioned. And I'm sure with, as I said earlier, I mean, with times to come, you know, the sensitivities will become better. You know, such lapses will be looked at more critically. And, you know, I think the laws will be made more stringent. I think its enforcement, I think with the new occupational safety code, which has been introduced now in the country very recently, as recent as last week, I'm sure things are bound to improve, and we can only be hopeful. And I think it's responsibility of each and every stakeholder, and not only on the government. Government can only make regulations, make policies for a better enforcement, but eventually it is the responsibility of the industries, the individuals within those industries, the professionals, to implement and enforce those guidelines. Before I take any further question, I would like to formally welcome Dr. Muzaffar Ahmed, former member, National Disaster Management Authority, our chief guest for today's validity session. Very good afternoon, Dr. Ahmed. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. We are in the middle of taking a few questions, and as soon as we finish these questions, we would also call upon you for the formal validity in the session. We'll have your concluding remarks and your address. But then I want to take this opportunity to thank you again for joining us this afternoon on the third day of this OTP. Thank you so much, Dr. Ahmed. And very shortly, we'll be taking the questions. Meanwhile, Dr. Ahmed, I hope I'm audible. And can we do a quick audio check so that there is no connectivity issue? You are on mute, Dr. Ahmed. If you could unmute yourself, please.
Yes.
Yes, sir. We can hear you. We can hear you. Thank you so much.
Audible? Thank you very much, Ruba. You continue. You continue with.
Right, sir. Right, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Moving on, I have a question. I think this question is pointed towards Mr. Gangopadhyay. Gangopadhyay ji, if you could please unmute yourself. This question is on BBS, and I think you've answered most of these questions. One of the gentlemen, Chandrasekhar, and I think some of his colleagues, they would want to know more about the implementation bit of BBS and how it can one can sustain it better, the BBS approach. Would you like to?
No, can I reply to this now?
Yes, please, Gangopadhyay.
Thank you, Sud Saab. This is a very pertinent question, and this is actually the need of the hour. Maybe one gentleman has posed this question, but this may be the question for so many participants. So this is a very good question. And nowadays, most of the professionally managed industries, they are going for BBS culture only. That is the ultimate solution. So BBS culture is actually why normally different industries are not going for BBS culture. The main drawback, I can say, is it is time consuming. If you start today, you may start getting the result even after 1 year. So we should patiently and with a time frame system, we should go for that. Basically, this BBS culture talks about the design, its formulation, then having a department for implementation of the BBS structure. Then it is almost like PDCA, plan, do, check, and act. So then you have to take certain examples, certain areas or location or activities, and you should go for implementing the behavioral-based safety culture. It starts from the bottom-most. That means if you go for the hierarchy of the different employee designation or groups, then normally in the conventional or traditional system, we start from the topmost person. And whatever decision is being taken by the topmost management, and then it percolates down from top to bottom. Here it is just reverse. Here we are just trying to understand the mentality and the problem in the attitude of the people who are actually involved in the job. Why they are basically accidents are taking place because of two main reasons, either unsafe conditions or unsafe actions. Unsafe actions is almost 90%. Unsafe conditions is only 10%. But even if we think very seriously, you will find that even these unsafe conditions are also the result of unsafe actions of some people. It is not management. We say that unsafe conditions, management is responsible. Who is management? Again, some people who have created, because of their problem in their attitude, created this unsafe condition. So we can say ultimately it is almost 100% are because of our attitude. Problem means it is basically three in nature. One is overconfidence, another is negligence, and third is ignorance. So these are the three negative traits in every human being. Percentage wise, it may be less or more. Maybe some people are having 5%, 10%, that is tolerable. Some people are having 80%, 90% this problem. So they are normally known as the accident prone people. So we have to target the attitude. Attitude means the behavior. Actually, attitude is inside our brain. Behavior is, it is observable and measurable also. So we have to target their measured behavior, how they are reacting, how they are doing, why they are doing it, why. That means it is actually the root cause analysis. I have said in BBS type of culture, 5 points I have mentioned. 1 point it was there. It actually makes the root cause analysis. Root cause analysis means suppose somebody is working at height and he has fallen due to some problem. He has fallen from that height, and it is a very serious nature of accident. When that expert committee team is doing the inquiry, then they are ultimately saying because the person was working at height and he should have worn a full body safety harness and he was not having it, and that is why he has fallen. Maybe that is the reason. Whatever may be the problem, but if you would have worn a proper safety full body harness, he would have hung. But is this the correct approach? He's doing some mistakes and some problem is there because of the maybe scaffolding structure, working platform, access is not proper or slippery floor, whatever may be the problem. But why should he fall? So that we should try to question and then get the answer. Why he should, even with all these problems, he should fall. And if somebody is falling and then he is protected through a full body harness, that means the safety belt, is that the correct approach of the management? No management wants that my people will, while working at height, because of some problem, they have fallen and they are hanging with a safety belt, then they are rescued. So that is also not acceptable. So that is not the root cause analysis at all. Even if he is wearing a safety belt And he's having another problem of what normally we say that these are actually the physical problems. So those problems are to be sorted out. The people who are responsible to take care of those physical conditions, whether it is the scaffold structure is not proper, it was not healthy, it was not properly erected, the working platform was slippery, even the platform was not having guardrails or toe boards. So who are responsible, why they have not done? So while we are trying to implement BBS culture, we are not thinking, it should not be in our mind that the person who have not done it, but they were responsible, they should be punished. No, no question of giving any punishment, but only try to find out, ascertain that why, even if it was the responsibility of some people, they have not done it. Why? What is the problem? Go beyond, and then ultimately we'll have to ascertain what is the real problem. Why this? Maybe sometimes it is not because of this person, but because of the procurement. Maybe some other department is responsible, not the particular group or person. Maybe it's a different department. When we are going into details and details and details, and we are trying to do the root cause analysis, then the actual problem is coming onto the surface. So BBS culture is always trying to understand the real problem. That means the root cause analysis. It will take a long time, but once it is achieved, then it is a sustainable development. So BBS culture gives a sustainable development or sustainable safety management system. But traditional concept gives some immediate result, but that does not last long. It's for a particular makeshift arrangement. It is a problem, then this is closed, that type of problem will not come. But the similar type may exist in some other area, other location with some other group. So again, tomorrow, there may be an accident with some other group. So this is the behavioral-based culture. So it is the ultimate solution. I think I could explain properly.
No, you of course you did, sir. I think it was well explained in your presentation, and I think you've answered a few questions pertaining to the same issue or the same concept of BBS in the window, also in the question answers window. And I think this shows the level of engagement and involvement our participants have with the speakers. You know, there's always a learning. So they're learning new things, and they're sharing their thoughts also, and also their queries live with us. And I think this is really very encouraging and very heartening to see more and more people actively getting involved in the conversation and the deliberations we are having. And we've had I would like to take a moment to recognize the questions which have been answered by our experts. Questions from Himanshu from JSA, from Mr. Pramod, Chandan Kumar, Chandrakant Sorte. Yes, the presentations will be shared through a website link. The question from Narayan Reddy, they're all very keen to have a copy or to refer to this copy, to the presentations which have been shared in the last 3 days. And we believe in that agenda and in that thought of, every single participant who attends the OTP is an ambassador, graduates into an ambassador of industrial safety by the time the 3rd day finishes. So he or she can take that knowledge and share that and disseminate that amongst his or her team, not only in the organization, but also amongst his or her colleagues outside the organization in other industries, so that the culture, as you said, the behavioral change, which needs a paradigm shift in our country, can be brought about. And it can happen slowly and steadily. And I think all of you who are present, over 300 participants with us right now, you all are ambassadors of industrial safety. That is the reason why you are here spending these 3 hours on each day to listen to these experts, because somewhere in your behavior you have that inculcated, that you're the importance of industrial safety. And I think that is what is important. That is what Mr. Gangopadhyay pointed out, and that is what even Mr. Ashok Lal in his presentation, they wanted to express and to communicate, that how important the entire culture of industrial safety is. We have a message from Mr. There is a message from, I would read that out, from a long message from Mr. Professor Manavalan Ilakuvan. And, although he has sent it privately, but he has very clearly mentioned that excellent presentations are made in the, today, and especially by all the speakers, especially and starting from Mr. Dr. Anil Gupta, the host speaker. Exceptional PowerPoint presentations. This is useful and need of the hour. And these 3-day program has been a masterclass, has been very well organized. So thank you so much to Mr. Manavalan and all other participants who have appreciated this effort. I will take a few more questions because I know Dr. Ahmed has another meeting, to attend to. I will quickly take a couple of more questions. Also, most of them have been answered. Gangopadhyay sir, there's a question for you from Pramod Parikh. What is the defined safety risk target number of fatality at NTPC? I think of safety risk target number of fatality at NTPC as per your answer.
This question I had seen, but I could not answer because the question itself is having some ambiguity and some doubt. No one can make any target for accident. Actually, we can always make a target. That is why initially during my presentation I was telling that target is zero accident is not appropriate at all. Target should always be, it is either elimination or it is just to control the hazards. That means the risk. We can go for elimination of risk. But target cannot be zero accident. How can we say anything except zero? Is the question is about the accident. Accident should always remain zero anywhere. So, but our target is always in NTPC or I think in any other industry should be the hazard elimination. That is the target. How we are doing it effectively, that is always good, and that should be the target in NTPC also. This is the target, not any accident. Last year it was 5, this year it should be reportable accident 3 or 2. That is never acceptable by any management or anybody. So similarly over here also, but definitely even our target is to have zero accident only to eliminate hazards or risks. But even then some unfortunate incidents are happening definitely every year. So what we do that safety index, whether it is a frequency rate of accident or it is severity rate of accident. Frequency rate means it is number of accidents into 10 to the power 6 divided by total man hours worked. Severity rate means total man days lost into 1 million. That means 10 to the power 6 divided by total man hours worked. So this format, with this we actually calculate every year whether the rate is definitely really is coming down this year as compared to previous years. So that gives an idea that whether we have really done enough for inculcating a good safety culture. We were able to reduce the hazards, that means unsafe conditions, unsafe actions. So our target is always to eliminate or control hazards, that means risk. That is the target. I think it is clear now.
Yes, sir. Yes, I am sure it must be, yes. There's a question from Sistala Salesh. In most industries, it's a very interesting question. There are issues arising in other departments that they are not following the safety practices and procedures during working. And this leads to blaming the safety department and also leads to a war, sort of a war between the safety and other departments. I think behavior has a huge role to play in and leadership of the organization also has a huge role to play. But I would want Dr. Lal, Mr. Lal, if you would like to comment on this.
He's very right, and it's almost in all the places. Actually, most of the departments, they are not looking for, if you look into the policies of most of the organizations, they say the responsibility of safety is not with safety officer. It is with the respective departments. And actually, even if we look into NTPC, my safety policy says that first of all, at corporate level, responsibility lies with the chairman and directors. At the project level, whosoever is the project head, responsibility is his. And subsequently, is all HODs. And safety officers are only to advise. Safety officer is not a responsible person. Safety officer is only to advise, and they are to advise appropriate. They are supposed to be something like eyes and ears of the top man. We are supposed to give them the right feedback. For example, one particular department is not working. I'll tell concerned HOD, and if it still it has not been set right, I'll go and tell to the occupier and director, and depending upon that. And responsibility in no way. This war is going on from the very beginning because HODs are more powerful. Even in most of the organizations, the production persons are having most power. So they are always heard over there. They don't want to take responsibility. If there is any failure, the safety man has not done it. And it is not safety man's job. And this thing should be understood by the management also necessarily. Otherwise, safety will never improve of safety and the safety officer. War will go on. This will continue. Till management decides. I remember a case. I was at Secretary. The general manager told over there in the meeting of where senior officers and me were there. I was their senior manager. They were DGM, CGM. The general manager told that if there is any accident, I'll tell the police that this concerned HOD, he has killed a person and he should be arrested by police. So that fellow started, sir, what you are doing, you are giving more importance to safety department or likewise. But that is what is required. If you do not set right, then the occupier or the management will have to suffer for that.
I will only add one aspect. What Mr. Lal has said, he's absolutely right. One thing I must add to this, why the problem sometimes we are facing with the safety officers. I am very open now. See, safety officers are also having some responsibilities. This responsibility does not mean that for any accident they are responsible. It is absolutely their nature of role is advisory in nature. But what do we mean by advisory? Advisory means they have to continuously advise management against any unsafe condition, unsafe practices happening at a site. So for that, we are having almost 10, 12 different roles and responsibilities of safety officers stipulated in the Factories Act. So, or factory rules, actually, it is enumerated. So, one of these are regular visits, site inspection, and they have to see. And then, if anything is coming into their knowledge, it has to be properly notified to the concerned department, maybe sometimes with information to head of the plant, who is ultimately the occupier, who is having responsibility, ultimate responsibility of safety. So if we are doing that, then it is absolutely okay. But suppose safety officers are not visiting the area, location, the hazards are not known to them, they are never advising, and this advice means sometimes it may be verbal, sometimes it has to be in black and white also, in paper also. They have to communicate. So if this is done, I think then there is no problem. We are not, definitely safety professionals are not directly responsible for any incidents, because as Mr. Lal has rightly said, that we are not, safety officers are not executing department or executive personnel. These are the line executives, line managers who are actually getting the job done. So if I am not doing any job, how can I be responsible for any impact of that job? With no one. It is a general philosophy. It is not as per Factories Act, and it's a general philosophy, common sense. But definitely I am having some responsibility to go to the site regularly and make inspection, and the problems are to be brought to the notice of the management as well as to the concerned department for rectification. That's all I wanted to add.
Right.
Thank you.
I think last question of the day before we formally initiate the valedictory session. This question comes from Colonel Ram Athavale, and he says, do you feel there is a need, and I think both of you gentlemen would be interested to answer this question, because there is a clue in the question itself, and because a lot has been done on this in our country. Do you feel there is a need to group industries in risk-based clusters and institute on-site appropriately equipped safety and response teams? So he means, clusterization of similar industries. Would you like to answer, Mr. Lal, first, and then?
I fully agree with this. Actually, when we are having a small industry, say 10 or 20 persons, the loss is above 1,000 persons. They will have to find a safety officer. But when I got 25 persons, a small factory working in a small hall, probably it is very difficult. It is very costly for me to do it. In case of BOCW rules, now, although it will change over there, but similar thing may come. BOCW rules, it is over there, where it is written that 500 persons will have to appoint a safety officer, qualified safety officer, which cost you more. So what they have written, wherever the number is less, 2 or more persons or organizations, contracting organizations can join together to appoint a qualified safety officer, and he will look into the requirement of all the facts, construction period. This thing can also work in a similar fashion with that local. And for bigger areas, yes, they should appoint it. Otherwise, they can have, where the legal requirement is there, they will have to appoint for 1,000. That you will have to do it. But you can help otherwise also to these smaller industries.
Yes, thank you. And I think with when we hear that different states, especially majorly industrialized states like Gujarat, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, they have dedicated corridors. They have chemical belts, and like in Gujarat, you have Bharuch, you have Ankleshwar, you have Vapi. Now, this is where they have clustered those chemical plants in that one, group them, and in form of a cluster, and they have the on-site plan of is important for all those industries, but most importantly it's the off-site plan where the district administration has all the paraphernalia and all, they have the wherewithal to deal with any scenario before it becomes a situation which goes beyond their expertise or their the best sense of responding to that situation. So these clusters in majorly industrialized states have been very well developed, and as we in Andhra Pradesh, in Telangana also, this approach has been taken up, and especially with these recent accidents which are happening. And they are all isolated because the district's administration usually, when they are scattered, these such chemical plants or such hazardous plants, or plants which deal with hazardous material, when they are scattered, I think it adds to the challenge of dealing with the situation if it may arise from that plant. So more clustering is happening, and the state governments are focused on that, because if you have a cluster, they get not only from a safety point of view or from a response point of view, they get a better support from the government, but mutually they share a lot of resources. Industries to industries in the cluster share a lot of resources which can help them in the longer run. In fact, one of the things which one of our partners, the German cooperation group GIZ, one of their interventions in a chemical district or cluster of Gujarat was, there was several plants were using the same gas. So they were storing their own gas in their own plants, which was one of the high risk aspects of of industries in that cluster. So what they did, they identified those plants, they laid down pipeline and created a stock or a center to store that, stockpile that gas, and like a normal CNG gas, whoever and whichever industry wanted to consume, they could consume like a natural gas supply, which is done at our homes. So they did not have to store that gas in that factory. So the risk came down, and the risk was all, was sort of released from the from that plant, and because the gas was collected at one point at an isolated place where all the necessary steps were taken to store it, and it was supplied through that pipeline to each plant. So it was a simple way, a small way, but it cut down the risk to a great level. So I think, and that can only happen when you have clusters. Sir.
I'll add it. I'll add it. In MSI rules, manufacturer storage and import hazard chemical rules, for particularly for the factories which are having major hazard chemicals, there is always a provision of mutual assistance system. For example, at near Kota, there is one fertilizer factory, is there chemical factory. A little way from there, I got my NTPC gas plant. So we have come in contact with each other, so that in case they require by any they require a partner, so they will not be getting from other places. They will not have, state government will not have that advanced facilities. They can always take it from me. And we is a part of this written agreement with both of them, that in case you require, I'll give you. And at that time, I'll not ask you that you sign this and whatever you require from me, we have declared it that I got 5 tenders, I can give you 3 tenders, 5 tenders always. Similarly, they have written that I can provide you this much. So this is a mutual assistance system is there. And I mean, that is working as a cluster of facilities available with both of them. And that can be where more factories there, more this system can be there. NTPC, Simadri, we have got a similar system in the Visakhapatnam steel plant for all firefighting purposes. I had got 5 tenders, they have got some almost 90 tenders. So we always entered the agreement that I require, I'll take it from you, I'll give it to you.
Absolutely.
That's
And I
right.
think that's the way forward. And that's the benefit
Yeah.
of having hazardous industries in clusters. I think this is, thank you
And
so
less
much.
resources required. Less
Yes,
resources required in that case.
exactly. Less investment and more benefits. I think mutual benefits. I think
Yeah.
sharing
Yeah.
is caring, as they say. So thank you so much, Mr. Lal and Mr. Gangopadhyay, for a very interesting session. I'm sure with the compliments flowing in from the participants, we still have over 300 people, participants with us. I think this is a great testimony of the high quality of content that we provide to them, and the level of questions and the chat box comments we have, I think also determines the level of engagement we have been able to establish on this platform of this online training program, the 4th online training program. On that note, we end this session and we immediately move on. And I would request both the speakers along with Mr. Dr. Ashish Mittal to please stay around. We will start the initiate the validity address session. And without taking any further time, I would formally like to welcome Dr. Muzaffar Ahmed, the honorable former member of the National Disaster Management Authority, under whose leadership, and he leadership did various guidelines were developed, and he for the chemical disasters portfolio of NDMA, where General Bhardwaj was earlier the member. Then when Dr. Ahmed came into the same organization, he took over the baton to take he became the flag bearer of ensuring that the industrial disasters are mitigated in the country. He's been he's been a true leader, a national leader, I would say, Dr. Ahmed, and I'm very thankful that you are amongst us during this validity session. It means a lot to us, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible, and I would request you to please
Yes.
deliver your validity, your yes, sir. Dr. Ahmed, yes, if you could unmute yourself now.
Audible.
Yes, you are audible now. Yes, sir. Sir, I think there is bandwidth issue. If you would want to switch off your camera, and maybe the bandwidth might improve. Dr. Ahmed? while we wait for Dr. Ahmed, the connectivity to improve, because as I mentioned that he's in Srinagar and there is heavy snowfall in that region, so connectivity is usually a challenge.
My
Yeah.
thank compliments to the galaxy of our resource person who have been part of this thing, the training to various participants from various industries. So, if we talk about the growth of industries in India, especially industries dealing with manufacture of chemical, it has led to large expansion, and India is one of the biggest exporter of chemicals to other countries, and expansion of industries in chemical sector, the number of accidents and or the disasters, whatever you may call, has also increased years, and we know we have the experience carbide, and they have to deal not only with the manufacturing process and chemical, but they have to adapt operational practices and have to also take care of their safety, especially the storage, and we also have accidents while transportation. There are number of specific occupational when managing to workplace, and many potential from type of equipment required in manufacturing industries, and although the machines are now designed in a way that the employees are like sparks, parts, but the investigations of various accidents has shown carelessness, or what you make a carelessness of the employees working on these. And today, the industry is widely and regarded as one of the most important factor that any business, whether large or it may be small, must consider in its operation. Some follow the OSHA regulations, and all, but the private sectors are important steps in the safety, and especially when we talk about it's not only the major accident hazard units, but have large number of industrial units, medium and small sector, who have to take care and have to be from hazards that are causing and or like death or physical or serious injury to their employees or even community around or outside these units. There are regulations in addition to the even in our country Factory Act, Environment Protection Act, manufacture, storage and sale material, but we need to have the important aspect of capacity development. It's not only the one time, it is the concurrent capacity development of our officers, of our managers, and all other people who work in these industries, so that there are no accidents and our become safe, and they are in such a way that all the accidents are reported, and there is a sense that safety is an important which needs to be care. And we also today manufacturing highly cautious, and they take as a serious concern. Despite this, accidents and fatalities have occurred and will occur, for which we need to take of various precautions. What has been mentioned during the train, whether it is the whether it is the whether it is the being on the machines, or is the mock drills and simulations, on-site plans, off-site plans, which is important, which people should not, because everybody's concern is to make the industry safe and possible, and we need to together. I'm sure with the efforts of CIDM board, NIDM, and industry, whether in public sector or in the private, they have an important and essential role to play. What was mentioned in the clustering in earlier was that is a good thing, goods in us, the mutual aid and mutual planning of the industries is there to how to come across to work during the time of accidents, an important subject which needs to be practiced. And I must say, one of the which is a matter of concern only in the state of Maharashtra and Bidar and other places where we have industry in unorganized sector working up, and which where the accidents do sometimes reported, sometimes we read it in the press, and we need to have a mechanism. Although the of factories safety has care in some parts of the some country, but it is required to be taken all over all the country. I must thank the participants for their participation, and I must especially compliment Mr. Rubab Sood, along the whole team, Sanjeev, Akhil, Mainek, and all other people, those who have worked in making these training programs successful. Large number of participants have attended, and I'm sure at the end of these 3 days training, they got benefited. And I would request our faculty, the resource persons, and other those who are connected with them, that whenever such training program organized, they should try to disseminate the information about this training so that maximum number of people get benefited attend this training program. With these words, I thank you and wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Ahmed, for your very encouraging address and acknowledging the efforts being put together by the CIDM team, the Secretariat of CIDM, and you are an integral part and a member of that CIDM board. Thank you for all your guidance. Thank you, General Bhardwaj, for his guidance, Mr. L. Lavendu Mansingh, Mr. Rajeshwar Rao. We have such eminent people as part of our board, CIDM, and our disaster management committee, which also will soon be, reconstituted post the annual general meeting of FICCI, which will be inaugurated by the Honorable Prime Minister on the 12th of December. And again, I would encourage all the participants who are here with us, to register for our AGM and listen to the, one of the top experts, the top experts in their own domain, like Satya Nadella and Chandrasekharan from Tata's. All such eminent personalities will be present under one virtual roof, so to speak. And there's a lot to learn from their experiences. So I will encourage you to attend that. But coming back to what Dr. Ahmed mentioned, I think he also emphasized, the role of what industrial safety has in the overall development of the industrial sector in our country. And it's the employees of an organization are more than just a number. They are human beings. And one of the things which I was referring to yesterday was that it is not only the safety and injury hazards we should focus on. Our focus should be on health and illnesses also for all our employees. And I think that is where the overall occupational safety is sort of tapped by the leadership of any organization. So I think overall the 360-degree approach is very important. We continue to get a lot of compliments. Dharmesh Kosrekar, he thanks the NIDM and the FICCI CIDM board for providing this valuable knowledge. He goes on to say that your efforts to make society safer through knowledge and information is much appreciable. He sends his wishes also. Mr. Dilip Kumar Dwivedi, Sridhar, all, they're just from Rupa, the compliments and the best wishes, and, from Akshajit Udar, they're all, they had certain questions. Please be rest assured the PPTs, the presentations which have been given all these 3 days will be shared with you over email, along with the certificates which will be jointly issued by NIDM and FICCI CIDM board. And the rule was very simple. You have to attend all the 3 days of the OTP to be eligible for the certificate. Before I sign off, I would,
you must tell them about the convention so that they tell in their respective units about, the participation of their units and their industries in our annual function, which is going to be inaugurated by Honorable Prime Minister. It's going to be a good event for all of them. So they should.
Absolutely, sir. This is what I briefly mentioned. Yes, I briefly mentioned, and we would be sharing on the FICCI's website. If it's www.ficci.in. We have that banner running for registration for our AGM. As I said, the top speakers, the top industry experts from across the world will be speaking during the 3 days on the 11th, 12th, and 14th of December. The 12th of December at 11 a.m., the Prime Minister will be formally inaugurating the annual convention and AGM. In fact, I also wanted to share, and I shared during the beginning of this call today, that an expo is also been organized where the industries, the service providers, the SMEs and MSMEs and corporates can enroll for an exhibition stall, virtual stall, which would be on for 365 days starting from 11th of December. So, and we will throughout the year run many campaigns to get people to visit that expo, virtual expo, to discuss business for B2Bs, B2Cs, B2Gs. Various, many programs have been planned around that expo throughout the year. So it's a great opportunity for industries, for small businesses, medium-sized businesses, for service providers, consultants, all the manufacturers to really exhibit their strength, their services, their showcase their products through videos, through presentations, through online meetings, all of that. I mean, thanks to COVID, we have this opportunity where we can be active. The reach has the reach is immense through the virtual platform. And I was telling briefly that the number of people we had serviced in last 10 years through our physical conferences of CIDM, 37, 36 conferences across the country, which was over 11,000. We have touched the same number in last 7 months through our virtual interventions of webinars and OTPs and e-conclaves. So very soon we would also be launching dates. It could be during the end of December or beginning of January, an e-conclave on industrial safety, where all this knowledge which you've seen in last 7-8 months, an important event, a virtual e-conclave dedicated to industrial safety, which will be for maybe 2 or 3 days, will be organized in partnership with NDMA, NIDM, FICCI CIDM board, the Ministry of Environment and Forest, Ministry of Industries, the DPIIT, and many other line ministries will be part of that initiative, Ministry of Chemicals and Petrochemicals. So all of that would, we would reach out to all the participants of this OTP and previous OTPs also to make the most of that e-conclave or industrial safety, which the dates will be announced very soon. On that note, I would like to thank National Institute of Disaster Management, its Executive Director, Major General M.K. Bindal, under whose leadership the partnership was signed with CIDM board of FICCI, which is chaired by General Bhardwaj. We've come a long way, organized multiple initiative programs, webinars on industrial safety over the last 7-8 months. All the eminent faculty, we have 3 of them present with us today: Mr. Gangopadhyay, Mr. Lal, Dr. Mittal, and Dr. Jugal Kishore yesterday, who's head of emergency medicine in Safdarjung Hospital, Dr. Sunil Pandey, Director TERI, Mr. Madan Mohan from GAIL, of course, Dr. Anil Gupta, Professor NIDM. Thank you to all of the eminent experts, their leadership, their excellent and exquisite knowledge which they shared with us. I think we can't thank them enough. And as I said, we are flooded with thank you messages from almost all the participants. Vishal Barve, Vishnu, Rashil, all of them. They have flooded us with their compliments to all the speakers for the 3 days. I think we have successfully. It's safe to say that we have successfully organized another online training program, NIDM and FICCI together, the 4th in the series, and I'm sure there would be more which are planned and which will come up. We will reach out to you all, all the participants to where it would be on a different theme, and we would do our best and we will do our bit in promoting the culture and promoting the ideal behavior, what Gangopadhyay Sahab also mentioned, the ideal behavior which is important to ensure that the industrial safety is top of the list, top of the priority for all sort of industrial operations, may it be big, medium or small size of industries everywhere. I think we need to bring about that paradigm shift in the way this subject is looked into, and I'm sure with these small baby steps we will be able to achieve the bigger goal of having a safe ecosystem, safe environment for industrial operations in our country. So from the leadership of FICCI, from our Presidium, from the Secretary General Office, and from the CIDM board and NIDM, I would thank you all for joining us, for bearing with us. If there were any sort of, we will share the feedback link also with all the participants to have a very frank and genuine feedback. We look at it very seriously. In fact, every feedback is very looked into with the utmost seriousness, because we don't want to fall short. Moving on, do not want to commit any, repeat any mistake if at all, and any positive feedback or negative feedback, we take it very seriously and try and incorporate that in our planning as much as we can. Because as I say, any OTP is as good as the participants' satisfaction, and I'm sure we will only improve from here, and with support of all of you present. So on that note, thank you again. Thank you so much, Dr. Hamad, Mr. Gangopadhyay, Lal Saab, Dr. Mittal, for all your support. And
Can I make one last comment, Shubh Saab?
Please.
I could not control myself. Thank you so much. Thank you so much from my core of my heart for your excellent coordination for the entire session. As a moderator, you are excellent, really. And you have made this program more live by your interaction, by your special comments throughout the session. I was just listening, and it's really excellent. Thank you so much.
Very kind of you, sir, for your nice words and for your nice words and kind words of encouragement. I think that is the boost which one needs sometimes, the supplement which one needs to, like Zincovitz and vitamin C is important for dealing with COVID. I think that is the necessary supplement which we sometimes go a long way. Thank you so much for acknowledging and appreciating the efforts of not only myself, because all I speak is on behalf of not only myself, but my colleagues, Akhil Gupta, Sanjeev Kumar, Mainak Majumdar, and Varun Sharma. So they keep updating me over the live chat while we are talking that, if I'm missing out on something, and even if I'm, if I'm heard saying things which I should not be saying, like accidentally I got unmuted today. So I think Mr. Harshit from NIDM and Dr. Anjali Barwal from NIDM, and the entire team of the efforts from our IT team, Chandan and Gaurav of FICCI's IT team. I think they've been incredible, and the remarkable support, seamless support, and I think a lot of credit goes to them as well. And most of all, the credit goes to all the participants who've really stood by us all these 3 days. We've had over 300 on all the 3 days. I think this is really very overwhelming and very encouraging. Thank you so much. Thank you again, all of you. Till next time, we'll meet soon, and with a new chapter, with a new subject, a new theme on industrial safety and related subject. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye. Have a good evening. Bye-bye. Thank you, Sanjeev. Thank you, Chandan.
Thank you so much. Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you, yeah, Chandan and Gaurav, all of you guys, yeah. Chetan, बहुत बढ़िया. Thank you. Great help.
Really. Thank you so much.
Great job, Sanjeev. Shabash. Great work. Mainak, Varun, Akhil in disguise.
Yes.
Disguise. Akhil in disguise. Yes. Thank you. So,
Okay, we'll talk offline.
I think we must talk offline, and the eConclave, what we discussed, what we have announced. We need to roll that out very soon. So that is even the PMO is very keen for us to launch that. So we will do that very soon, and with partner states. I think Andhra Pradesh is keen to become a partner state. They are expecting for a physical conference sometime in February. I don't know how what COVID has in store, but if possible, we would love to do that. We haven't done that for a year now. The last one we did was in Sikkim, right?
Yes.
So I'm sure physical conferences, till the time they are not possible, will continue with this effort. An e-conclave of industrial safety would be a great idea. Let's work on that, and let's sign out from now. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Great.
Bye-bye. Yeah. Have a good night.